Alrighty, well, welcome to part 2 on the trading cards event. Alright, so there's a couple of things to talk about. Now, everything is going to stay the same when it comes to the loadout for the very last area. Now, again, I'm going to reiterate this because some people might have had questions, and I have seen this in the Big Games Discord server. Do flags actually work? Now, as I did mention, I use this as a pillow. It may or may not work. It's not confirmed, though there are different opinions based on this. I usually have hasty here just because there's nothing else really to put here. I don't need magnet flags because I already have a super magnet book. However, this is definitely going to be needed, and I'll explain why. So if you don't have super magnet, which is a book that will basically pick up absolutely everything no matter where you are inside of the game, there is a section right down there which is going to basically have you buy cards and you need to open them up. Now, there is an obby here, so remember that you just can't really walk up to it. You have to actually do the little obstacle that it has. So whether you're basically farming and you're trying to just stick in that one area, that's basically what you're going to basically need. Whether you're using super magnet or magnet flags, either or, you're going to need something to actually pick up the coins and everything like that. Another thing is those are primarily used for the little quest section right over here if you plan on doing that with Preston. However, it is recommended because he does have packs of cards there that you do actually need, and that is going to be the ninja pack. If you really don't care about that type of stuff, you could technically go out into the trade hub when absolutely everything is calmed down for wrap and just go buy them. Now, of course, this is all community based, so if you plan on buying these, be warned, these might actually be expensive, though I have a feeling the big packs over here are going to be the most expensive because of the merchant. Now, the merchant and Preston's shop, these two I'm assuming actually do sell these because there is a little pack right here that tells you big pack deals, so he may or may not actually sell these. Either way, a magnet flag or a super magnet is definitely needed for this event, and this is whether you're using it in the zone or if you're using a book itself. You're going to need something, but the loadout is still going to be the same. Make sure you have a really good pet for this event, meaning that you do need the best stat pet for this, so everything is a little bit more easier. So I'm going to do a compare and contrast based on two loadouts that I did in my previous video, just so I can go ahead and get some confusion out of the way. So the current loadout that I just basically turned to was this one. So we're using strong pets, criticals, super magnet, speed, fruity, and the large taps with happy pets. I want you guys to pay attention to absolutely everything that is happening on my screen right now and basically see how fast they're moving, how fast the chests, everything is breaking, and you're gonna notice nothing is really changing all that much the second that I choose to go ahead and actually go back to my other loadout. The only thing that's really gonna change is maybe the damage might be a little faster because of the orbs itself that are basically just breaking things a little bit more faster. Now, the main focus of having these orb books is not for them to be dependent to break things for you, but more as an assistance to help you break stuff faster. So they're not going to help you break things immediately, but over time it's going to help you out, especially if you're a player that might not have really good pets. Now, the only thing that's really going to change super dramatically is if you're using 100% just regular stat pets from this event. And we'll go ahead and equip some of these real quick so you guys can actually see. So as you can tell, the little baby pets, they're moving around, they're doing their own thing, right? So they're gonna work, obviously, a little less efficient, whether you're using huges, titanics, stuff like that. They're gonna still break things relatively fast, especially if you're not a person in the game that can afford a bunch of huges and titanics, right? So hopefully that makes sense, right? Because it's kind of hard to explain this. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and switch from 1 to 4, and this is basically the team that I'm currently using right now. So we're gonna switch back to number 4, and it works, if not almost, and I say this with a grain of salt, almost the same. It's kind of hard to basically compare the two, but they're not way off, if that makes sense, right? So it doesn't matter if you're using little baby stat pets or if you're using titanics and huges and stuff. To me, this all works the same, so long as you have a good setup and some good pets. So for everybody out there that might be wondering, do you have to have titanics and do you have to have huges in order to basically be able to do the this event. And no, you don't. You just need to make sure that you have good pets to start with. And, you know, obviously if you can't afford like all of the stuff that I'm using currently, which, you know, obviously is a little out there, right? It's okay, because at the very end of the day, if anything, you're probably losing like maybe a little time compared to what I'm using. I've done plenty of testing videos where I can go ahead and compare like a set of pets, whether that's exclusive, stat pets, and my main team, which we're gonna go ahead and do right now. I'm gonna actually go ahead and do the stat pets for about 30 seconds, and I'm gonna go ahead and do the main team that I currently have, so you guys can actually visually see the difference between the two, so you guys can make that, you know, decision on your own. If you feel like you need to go ahead and get cheap huges, cheap exclusives, and have them paired up with your pets. Okay, so I figured I would actually just start talking in this so you guys can see the comparison between the main team, which is on the far right, and the stat pets, which clearly are on the far right. So I want you guys to actually like visually see what the damage that they're doing compared to each other. Now, the primary focus for this event is mainly what ultimate you're using, which is the tsunami one, which is very good for this event, and it's the most cheapest one that is efficient enough for you guys to use, and the orb books. Again, this is an assistance to the breakables, not a dependent thing, an assistance. And I would even say if you're trying to do the event, this is primarily just for the coins itself. I would say for the event upgrades, since everything that's extremely important is already maxed out, other than perhaps maybe the mystery merchant itself, because that is something that just pops up every once in a great while, I would say everything is basically done when it comes to this. So unless you're really wanting to get these upgrades for the mystery merchant, I would say it's probably not as important. Of course, the merchant itself, which is pressed in here, does sell stuff, and you do need to upgrade this in order to get better, you know, items in this area. So unless you're really pressed on like coins and like upgrades, stuff like that, this can be extremely beneficial. But definitely for this event, you're gonna need a lot of coins. This is something that I know a lot of people do have questions about. Does the boost machine thingy over here actually work when it comes to anything drop related? Now, I do have this on automatically because I do have enough in order to basically use these. I have $56,209 to spare. So yes, I can just leave these here and just let it go. Now, as I mentioned before, when you're in an area, you'll notice at the very bottom section over here, it's going to tell you what your boosts are active. Now, of course, they did add an additional menu system here, so you do have to actually click on everything, so it will tell you only the lucky and the ultra lucky are currently active. So yes, this probably will not work when it comes to the boost machine thingy over here. And this includes whether it's diamonds, the drops, and especially the egg luck. Since we're not technically hatching eggs, we're hatching packs of cards, this probably will not affect absolutely anything. However, I just leave it on because I technically just forget about it sometimes, which, you know, obviously it happens, okay? I end up forgetting this, okay? I actually end up forgetting this. And obviously, upgrade cards are dropped from breakables in the event world. So these are a random thing. So it's not gonna really help you out if you actually have those active or even use treasure hunter flags or treasure hunter books, basically. But again, unless you're really wanting those upgrade cards for, like, let's say for the merchants over here, I would say it's probably not as important as everything else previously obviously. So if you're trying to get stuff upgraded, which by now, unless you're brand new to Pet Simulator 99, or if you just didn't do last week's update, obviously these are going to be the most important ones, while these are just a little bit, you know, forgivable. Now, obviously, if you are planning to basically buy a ton of packs of cards, whether that's the one over here or the one all the way out there, and to be quite honest, these are, you know, relatively cheap in the plaza now. Honestly, at this point, 90,000 per pack, 46,000 per pack, and 6,320 per pack. I would say you could just go out into the trade hub and just buy these in bulk now. Obviously, because there is a new event going on, these are just going to relatively go down in price. The most expensive ones are clearly going to be the ones that are in the newest event section, which are obviously the ones that are a little bit more difficult to get. So at this point, what I am planning to do is get the maximum amount of coins that I am able to get, which obviously last week's was around 20 million. Now this might take some time because you can tell based on the coinage that I'm getting right now, it looks like I'm getting 1,000 per 2-3 seconds or so. It feels that way. It may be 1 or 2 seconds, but you're gonna have to actually sit here for a second and actually do this. Now I am getting a ton of reward stuff here, so I am gonna have to actually do this. So I got the booth now, the hoverboard, the axolotl pack, and the card key shop thing. So we've made it to the very end officially now. So my recommendation, we're gonna sum it up very quickly for you guys. Try to get the best stat pet when it comes to the event. Now it's gonna be a little out there because I know there's so many different pets that you can go ahead and actually get. What I would really recommend is going to the Big Games website, go look at the database, and basically look up every single stat pet and just see what the price is. The one thing I could really say is try to go to the event area, try to open up a card, or even ask people in the Big Games Discord what is the best stat pet, and look up the name. You'll find out what the price is once wrap is updated, and you can go ahead and make that decision whether you want to go ahead and make it or if you want to go ahead and buy it in the plaza. Of course, Rainbow Shiny is going to be your very best friend, though forewarning, it's going to be extremely expensive. Number 2 are your ultimates. Again, as I said previously, the tsunami one is amazing for this event, and it's obviously the most cheapest one that you can get right now at 54 million. Now, because we are in an event area, this might go up in price, or you just might have to bite the bullet and spend around 65 million and higher to get this. You might get lucky and find somebody that might sell it for wrap, or you just might get unlucky and you might have to pay a little bit overpriced. Of course, there is the Nightmare Ultimate, though obviously this is extremely expensive. Same thing goes with the UFO. That's why I mentioned Tsunami is going to be your very best friend for the event. Number 2, enchants, enchants, enchants. Unless you already have a super magnet, just orb it up. Literally just orbit every single thing up. Literally just orb it up. If you don't have super magnet, orb everything up and then just put a super magnet flag down, and hopefully you're able to collect everything around you while you're buying all of the packs that are in the plaza section here. Now, honestly, this is basically the same loadout, the same everything, right? And we do need to save up a good amount of coins for this event. Now, I'm at 2 million coins. I would have had around maybe perhaps 3 million, but it's been about a good hour or so. So I would say in about a good hour, as long as you're here AFK grinding and you have like an auto clicker just tapping breakables with you, this is going to be a time-consuming event. So what I'm probably going to do in the plaza is buy some packs, kind of just go through everything as I need to, and just passively just make pets. And debating on how I want to do this, I might sell the packs on my own and see what happens. But hopefully this kind of clears things up when it comes to maybe the flags, maybe the books, maybe comparing pets a little bit more, and giving a little bit more insight for the loadout that I'm currently using and I would recommend to players out there. And until then, I will see you guys all in the next video. Okay, bye!